And welcome everyone. Happy Friday. Thank you for joining us. So we will have opportunity to report to you what the UDOT is doing and the commission's roles. So welcome. I call this meeting to order. It's Friday 21 on May 2021. Let us start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I will offer that. Please all rise and face the flag behind my table or desk. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, my dear friend. That really warms my heart. Before I start, I will have to just for the last time, I will have the disclaimer item from the Utah Department of Transportation Commission electronic meeting. Hopefully, this will be the last time. Carlos has graciously accepted to host us next month at the complex. So if we all behave, he will deliver his promise. So May 2021 meeting of the Utah Transportation Commission will be conducted electronically, will only be accessible by electronic means. There will not be space for facilities to attend the open portion of the meetings in person, as the chairman has determined that an anchor location presents a substantial risk to the health and safety of those who may be present at the anchor location due to ongoing state of emergency related to COVID-19. The chairman has determined that an anchor location will gather interested persons and members of the public in a single confined location where the risk of the further spreading COVID-19 are greater. Interested parties may access a live broadcast of the meetings at youtube.com/UtahDOT. Thank you. Let's start with the introduction of our commission first and UDOT family next. And we go with in order of the seniority. So please state your name and your jurisdiction. Start with Commissioner Barlow.
My name is Wayne Barlow, and for the past 12 years, plus 2 months, it has been my honor and privilege to represent the top end of Utah from Box Elder down to Davis County. And I would like to say, if you will give me a little indulgence here, that my colleagues on the commission, both current and past, are among the best people that God has ever put on this earth. And I have enjoyed that relationship immensely. And also to the organization with which we are connected. UDOT has been the envy of all the states, DOTs, on the cutting edge of technology. And that reflects, of course, upon the executive director, Carlos Braceras. Carlos is the kind of leader who knows how to inspire his team to give 100%, 110% or more 24/7. And it has been equally rewarding for me to be associated with such a great organization. This will be my last meeting, of course, but I'm not just going to ride off into the sunset. I will remain a fan for the rest of my days. And thank you.
With that heartfelt testimonial, I make a motion to adjourn the meetings. This is it. Nobody can touch that. And Thank you. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you for your service. Thank you for all you've done, all the memories you have given us to all these past 12 years of 2 months. Sorry. We will remember you. You have really, really made a big impression in our lives. And this
My
is
only disappointment is that I'd hoped that we'd have at least one in-person meeting. But maybe next month that'll
next
happen.
month. You will be there next
Not
month. We asked you, please, we want you to be there next month. And you will be the Pledge of Allegiance to next month. Please show up. Thank you. Thank you for that heartfelt testimony. Commissioner Kramer, please.
Lou Kramer, Commissioner at Large, downtown Salt Lake. I just add amen and amen to everything that Wayne said. He will ride off into the sunset in a beautiful Corvette on gorgeous Utah highways that much credit given to him, Wayne. We've spent hundreds of hours together over the years and appreciate you dearly. And there's no goodbyes in our business. So what more can we say but thank you, Wayne Barlow.
Thank you. Commissioner Long.
We shouldn't have to start commission meetings in tears. Donna Law, I'm a commissioner at large, and I can only hope that I can be the kind of commissioner that Commissioner Barlow has been. Thank you for your example and your inspiration, and I look forward to seeing you next month.
Thank you for that. Commissioner Evans.
Commissioner Jim Evans, Region 3, and the central part of the state. Wayne, I've always looked up to you from day one being on the commission, and your wisdom and the questions you ask. And for me, to take a title of an old movie, this has been Wayne's World, as far as I consider the original Wayne's World right here. So thank you, dear friends. I'll look forward to seeing you when we're up at our place at Bear Lake. I'll be on the lookout for you as we share raspberry shake together down on Main Street there.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That invitation is to all, not just you two, okay? The raspberry shake was for all of us, please.
Hey, you ever make it up there, I'm sure Wayne and I can figure out a way to get you one of those.
We will, I promise we will make it, all of us.
Okay.
Thank you. Commissioner Van Tassel.
Yes, Kevin Van Tassel, Commissioner at Large. I live in Berlin, Utah. It's been a great opportunity to work with you, Wayne. Thank you for your example and all that you've done. And Lou, having just finished a trip to Portland and back on the highways, Utah has nothing to be ashamed of. And I watched the construction that was going along through Idaho and even in some projects in Oregon. Carlos, don't you dare go up there and take a job up there. You stick around. Because I look at the way we build roads and what's going on up there, and I thank the Lord that we have the contractors we have, the staff we have, as well as the support from the legislature to continue to, I don't know if we ever get ahead on infrastructure, but at least we stay close to even. Yeah. Thank you.
Hallelujah for that. Commissioner Gochner, please.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to be with you. Natalie Gochner. I'm an associate dean in the David Eccles School of Business, and I represent Region 2 for UDOT. That's Tooele, Salt Lake, and Summit counties. And Wayne, I want to thank you for your service. It's been an honor to become acquainted with you over the few months that we shared time together. We will continue UDOT's legacy of service for you. So thank you so much, Wayne.
Thank you, Natalie.
And my name is Nagi Zenadi. I'm joining with love and appreciation for Wayne and every one of you from cool and breezy St. George. We have a great team. We have a great family. From the time that I got the call or received the assignment from John Nord and of course Carlos and Jeff Holt, right here in sunny St. George, it was April Fool's Day. And ever since, I have fallen in love with UDOT and UDOT family, commissioners and their families. And it's been just great ride. And Wayne, you are right 100%. This is the best and cannot get any better. Thank you for all. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your dedications. and the belief that you have for Utah and its citizens. Thank you. I would like to also recognize and acknowledge our federal partner, Ivan Marrero, who will speak to us later. Carlos, would you please introduce your family, you and Lisa and Terry, I guess?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Commissioner Barlow, thank you for the nice comments that really reflect on the entire department and the passion that these amazing people have for the work that they do. So thank you for your service, and I look forward to being able to properly thank you in the future here. Mr. Chairman, if it's okay, I'll just go through the names that we have on the list. I'll do it quickly here instead of going back and forth.
Okay.
And let me just start with Heather Barthel. She's the Commission's secretary, and I think you all appreciate the work that Heather does in keeping everything aligned and making sure we have the materials that we need here. So I'm going to just go down the list that I have alphabetically here, so it'll be no other rhyme or reason other than the alphabet. And maybe when I mention your name, if you can, just kind of wave your hand. And let's start with Andrea Olson, Director of Planning. Hi, Andrea. Good morning. Ben Hewitt, Director of Program Development. Brad Palmer, out of our Program Manager out of Region 2. There you are, Brad. I'm having a hard time going back and forth here. Charles Starmat, Director of Right Away. Grant Potter, he's out of our Communications Office, and he's making this synchronization work between the Google Meets and all our viewers out on YouTube. Jared Esselman, Director of Aeronautics. Jared had the funny little image there of himself. We don't see it. I don't think that's what Jared really looks like in that picture. Sorry, Jared. Jordan Lee, who's behind the scenes making all the technology work. Thank you, Jordan. Cade Roberts. I better put my glasses on. Sorry. Cade Roberts, Program Manager out of Region 4. Carrie Ann Noble, also out of our technology area, making all this work. Chris Peterson, Director of Project Development. There's Chris. I'm really proud to introduce a new member of the UDOT family, Leif Elder. Leif, is your camera on? I don't see a picture of you here. I really would. There he is. He's on my screen. Leif, wave. There you go. Leif is he's now in his 5th day here at UDOT, and he's coming on as a Deputy Policy Director here, working with Linda Hull. And we were lucky enough to steal Leif from the State Auditor's Office. But before that, we worked closely with him up at the Utah Legislature, and he's gonna be a great addition to our team here. Linda Hull, of course, our Policy Director. There's Linda. Lisa Wilson, Deputy Director of Engineering and Operations. Lyle McMillan, who works on our P3 SIB program for us, and the Commission works a lot with Lyle. Monty Aldridge, our Deputy Director out of Region 4. There's Monty. Nathan Lee, Director of Technology Innovation. Thank you, Nathan, for all that you do to keep things running here. Nathan Peterson, Region 2 Deputy Director. Rick Torgeson, Region 4 Director. Rob Clayton, Director of Region 3. There's Rob. Rob White, Region 1 Director. So we're going through our trifecta of Roberts here. Robert Pelly, STIP Coordinator. Robert Stewart, Region 2 Director. We're just trying to make things confusing with all the Roberts here. And Stephanie Tomlin. Stephanie, hi, how are you? Out of our Active Transportation, right, Stephanie? And Terry Newell, she's our Deputy Director for Planning and Investment. Terry's there. Troy Peterson, Director of Operations. And Mr. Chairman, that's all the characters that I see on the list here from UDOT. I know you have soon-to-be Commissioner Rhonda Menlove. I don't know if you want to have her have a
Yes, I want to keep that one at the last, if you don't mind.
Sorry. Thank you.
No problem. For the general public, you can hear the names and recognize that it takes the whole village to raise a kid. So we're not just taking the credit for anything we do, not Commission, not the individual Carlos or Terry or Lisa. The whole family of UDOT is working together in harmony and peace and love and dedicated to serve the state of Utah. Now it is a good time to ask our dear freshman commissioner to introduce herself and tell us about if you want to give the background or just give us the jurisdiction that you're going to be servant to. Go ahead, please, Rhonda. Did we lose you?
No, there we go. Thank you.
Go ahead, please.
I just want to thank you. I'd like to thank Wayne Barlow. What a great job he has done. And I want to warn him, I will be representing Region 1, following in his footsteps. And I will be asking him continually questions and hope that he will mentor me through the process. And I'm looking forward to this great opportunity to serve with all of you. I'm worked before with UDOT and am impressed with the great work they do. Carlos's leadership, Linda's policy advocacy, and all of the things that they do to provide excellent transportation in the state. So I'm very much looking forward to serving on the commission and working with the commissioners and the UDOT staff. But Wayne, you have set the bar high, and I will be working very hard and hoping that you will continue to mentor me in this role. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all. Okay, let us go to the next item of the agenda, which is item 4, but we have not received any public comments as of this morning. So we're going to just proceed with the next item, which is a business item. Item 5, item 6 were presented by Ivan Hardle. The first section is the consent agenda, and then followed by program development. So Ivan, you have the microphone.
Good morning, Commission, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman,
Good morning. Yes, I'm Carlos.
can I, if you don't mind, we did
Please.
skip over a few agenda items. Did you want to?
Oh, sorry, I've done already. You're right. You're right. I got too anxious. My apology.
about that.
We'll go back to item number 2. Federal Highway Report from Ivan Marrero. Thank you, Carlos. We got emotional. Everything is just well fell apart.
Well, that's
Ivan,
certainly stuck
you
out
have.
for me.
Sorry, Ivan. Apology.
No problem. How is my sound this morning? Is everything okay?
So far, so good.
All right, great. Well, good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. And let me just start by saying congratulations to Commissioner Barlow on your service. It's been great getting to know you over the last 7 or 8 years I've been here, and spending time with you. And I know that the citizens of Region 1 and the whole state of Utah should be very proud of the service you provided to them. So congratulations, and I wish you nothing but the best in your retirement, even though I know you're not going to retire. And basically from the federal side, I don't have anything to report this morning. I'm sorry to say it's been a slow month on the federal side. So I will turn my time over to whoever is next. And again, thank you for giving me a couple of minutes here.
Thank you. How is Brigitte doing there in the East?
So far, so good. She's got, I think she's due back in July 12th. No, June 12th, I'm sorry. So she's got another month over there in West Virginia. And I'm sure she's going to come back with an amazing group of suggestions for Carlos on how to make Utah more like West Virginia DOT.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your work. Now, this next item on the UDOT scoreboard, and Chris Peterson and Troy Peterson will give us that presentation. Chris, you need to unmute yourself, please. Your voice is not coming on.
Let me,
There you go.
is that a little bit better? I'll turn up my volume.
Yes, please.
So I've been using my headphones because my volume's a little bit louder. And then this morning they didn't work. So we'll switch back to the old and I'll just speak loud. So I apologize about that. Anyway, I appreciate this chance to do this. I unfortunately am not going to be able to be in person next month. And so Wayne, I want to make sure you know that my absence is not a demonstration of any lack of admiration and praise that I have for your work. I appreciate the chance to have worked with you over many of those 12 years as I was up in Region 1. So anyway, congratulations on this next phase for you. And if I ever do make it to Clear Lake, because I don't own a piece of property up there, when I bring my kayak out to float on the lake, maybe I'll give you a call.
There you go.
All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, so I will start my presentation from our homepage. So this is a view of our homepage, and I will scroll down to our strategic direction. And come to the Transportation Commission portion of that page. And load our dashboard. The way the dashboard loads, it always gives a little bit of anticipation. You always wonder what number is going to pop up as it loads, as it's a live data dashboard. I will tell you that yesterday, as I was reviewing the information, that number 6 was a 5. So you never know exactly what you're going to get on Friday morning at commission morning. There was a new project that showed up there. Of the over 600 projects that the commission has approved, over the next 60 days, we only expect to advertise in the neighborhood of 2 projects. That's over the next 2 months. This is our slow advertising period. And so most of the work that we have going on this year has already been advertised and in the hands of the contractors, although we do have some projects that are working their way through the last little bit of the process for this year as we get ready for next year. In fact, we'll probably start to see projects advertising in July for next year. So just keep your eyes peeled for that. We continue to be very pleased about our on-time performance. While we have 6 projects out there that are a little bit late right now, we're still on 93% on time delivering of our project, well exceeding our goal. Over 119 projects since July 1 of last year that we've advertised, totaling nearly $1.3 billion. Since the 1st of April, we've advertised 16 projects, just over $45 million worth of projects that we put out. One that you will note, and probably the largest project on the list, and probably the one that might be most noteworthy, is the Vineyard Commuter Rail Station project. And so we just executed the contract through CMGC process for that to allow that project to continue. And that's a partnership with UTA that we have to build the rail station and a portion of double track of rail for Front Runner in that area. So that's an exciting project to see moving forward. We'll load this graph. There we go. The green bars are projects that we've advertised. You'll see that this identifies per month. You see that we have gone through our major advertising period, with June and July being much slower. So you can see that's typical, that's common, and we expect that because we try to get our work out as early as we can. Particularly right now with the challenges that we're seeing with supply shortages. That's incredibly important to make sure that we can get our contractors ahead of the game, and so they can lock in their supplies early rather than late in the summer. Let me just quickly go down to, we have 175 projects currently under contract, under construction, totaling, I wrote the note down, $2.7 billion under contract. Of that, we have paid out nearly $1.6 billion worth of value on those contracts. We still have remaining $1.2 billion to pay out under our obligations. Those will continue to proceed and occur as we move along through the course of the summer and into next year. Several of those projects are multi-year projects. Our contractor payments last month, we paid to our contractors $84 million, averaging just over $2 million a day on average to pay out to the contractors. So far this month, we paid out 43. We're not done with the month yet, so we expect obviously that number is going to go much higher. as we have good weather and a lot of construction's ramping up right now. And it just really quickly, this is a chart that demonstrates how our estimators, our engineers are doing estimating their projects as compared to contract value. Blue lines are our estimates, and our green lines are our actual bids. So we've been doing well historically with being able to estimate and making sure that we have adequate funding to proceed with the projects. We never want to put projects out that we don't believe we can construct because we couldn't afford them. So our engineers are doing a really good job with that. Right now is very challenging as prices are tending to increase. And so our engineers and our estimators are working really hard to make sure that we have a good understanding and a good feel for what we should anticipate and expect on our contracts. So I can't finish before I give a shout out to all of the hardworking men and women of UDOT in our project delivery program, both from designing, from estimating, but also to the folks out in the field who are constructing our projects for us and able to help us deliver our program and keep Utah moving. So with that, I'll end and ask any questions for me.
Chris, what kind of contingencies that you put in any of these projects just in case there's a shortfall?
So each project will work with their project team, and they will carry some type of contingency based on the risks that they identify. So there isn't a set number, but that number could be anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15% contingency in the event of that. But those are all based on actual risks. It depends on the volume of materials that a project may have as compared to a volume of labor. And so they work really hard to make their best estimates as to what risks are out there and what we might need to do. Occasionally you notice that we will come back to you if we weren't able to carry enough contingency. And I think that's important because if they're carrying contingencies in excess of what they need, that's money that could be put to use out on the roadways. And so when you do the consent agenda, if we have a project that gets a great bid, we will pull some of that contingency back so that we can put it out on the roads and put it to use. Sometimes, however, those estimates are on the other side and we may need to come to you. So we appreciate certainly your understanding when we have a project that needs just a little bit more money. We think that's smart business to not carry too much money in a project, rather to make the best use of it and allow us to keep Utah moving by having that money on the road instead of in a bank account.
Commissioner Van Tassel, you have a question, and then you will be followed by Commissioner Barlow.
No question, just a comment.
Okay.
There's something like a road trip to kind of open your eyes to all of the projects that we have going on, from Snowville clear through all the Salt Lake Valley. When we're running 170, 180 projects a summer, all of the state's benefiting, and I appreciate the commission's work to try to get that done. UDOT, I just think it speaks well. I know people cuss us when the orange barrels are out, but all that means that in a few months it'll be better and you'll forget all about it. So thank you for that effort. And I appreciate the fact that we each month we pull some money back and we approve some. Like up in Wayne's area up there on Highway 30, we got into a plan and we found out we had a bigger issue than we thought. We made those adjustments, and I think that's a well-designed opportunity to meet the needs of the state of Utah and our public and come out with great projects. Thank you.
Commissioner Van Tassel, I believe they're just expressing their passion rather than cussing us. That's my belief.
That's right.
Commissioner Barlow.
Yes, it looks like that project to widen US 89 on the approach to the marina at Bear Lake has been finished up. That's going to be a big asset there to give more storage capacity for people with their trailers coming in with boats to the marina. So that's been a good project. And my recollection is that the marina was going to be expanded. Chris, do you have any idea on that and what the timetable might be for expanding the marina?
I'm going to phone a friend on that because I haven't been involved in that project for a very long time. So I don't know if it's Brett or Rob or Lisa, whoever wants to answer that call first.
Brett, maybe could you give us an answer on that one? I'm not familiar with that.
Yes, I can. So we have within that project, we met with the marina several times. The expansion of the marina is something they are looking at. That's something they are still studying and looking at because of the wetlands and the elevation of the lake. But that is on them, not necessarily was part of our project or part of what UDOT is doing, but it's part of what the marina's long-term plans are. And I would say it's still a few years out because they're still studying how they're parking and how the phase 2 of it's going to go. I'm not sure when it will take place for sure. That hopefully that helps a little bit.
Yeah, thank you. My recollection also is that that's the only state park that actually turns a profit for us. So it would be a good thing to expand that when the time comes. Thank you.
Commissioner Barlow, as of last year, the Dead Horse State Park and also the Great Salt Lake Marina were the other 2 parks that also earned a profit.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Carlos. Commissioner Gardner, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just going to mention to Chris, the state jobs report came out this morning showing construction growth over the last 2 years of 11%. So 2-digit growth, doing it over 2 years because don't want to go to last year because last year was an unusual time at, year over. Unemployment rate, at 2.8%. So I'm just wondering how much of a concern it is to have these labor constraints for the construction challenges that we have at UDOT.
That's a topic we discuss with our contractors all the time. And they are constantly struggling to find quality labor that will work under the outdoor conditions that our projects are constructed under. So we're aware of that, and we're having dialogues with them as to, have we reached a breaking point? Have we ever gotten to a point? What they tell us is they can find it, they can find the labor, but it's going to cost us money. So it's truly a measure of the supply nature of the business. They tend to have to go out and pay more money so they can get their employees to do it. They're nowhere near the minimum wage, and they all pay over the minimum federal wage requirement that we have on federal projects in order to be able to maintain that workforce. But yeah, it's a challenge, and it's not going to go away. There's several initiatives that they're doing. In fact, the AGC has a campaign that they're doing called We Build Utah to try and help encourage and remind folks in Utah that there are great paying jobs, that you may have to get a little bit dirty, but there's great paying jobs in the construction industry, and you don't have to go very far from home. You don't have to leave Utah to do those. And so we're partnering with them and looking for ways to help also in schools, in trade schools and the like, to also try to let people know that this is a good industry, and to try and give them an opportunity and encouragement to come and join with us to help make Utah better. So, but it's a challenge, absolutely, as you brought up, and we've had it for several years, and it's being magnified right now.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
Just to kind of follow on Commissioner Gochner's question, can we ask Chris? Chris, there's some commodity issues as well. Do you want to quickly maybe touch on those issues that we're facing?
Sure. We all thought that when COVID got over and we were able to get back to work, that life was going to be grand. And what we have found is that we're still suffering maybe from a little bit of COVID hangover in some industries. Right now, we are seeing issues with the supply of cement for our projects. Also issues with fly ash and even asphalt. We're seeing some potential issues with asphalt supply. Now, those are all tend to be metered by the supply of cement, and that's controlling the progress on a lot of projects. They get cement as they can get it out of the plants. The plants are producing it at full capacity, but with the construction growth in Utah that didn't slow down over the winter, it stayed because of the light winter. It stayed strong. The cement manufacturers were not able to get ahead of the demand and stockpile so that we would have adequate supplies through the summer. So now we take everything that we can get, whether it's for home construction or for roadway construction or commercial, and that's used. You have to order 2 weeks in advance if you want to get some concrete, and you get it based on how good of a customer you were in the past, based on the volume that you used to buy. So fortunately, the cement suppliers are not leveraging this shortage to line their pocketbooks. We haven't seen prices escalate significantly because of this shortage, despite some efforts to try to get in front of the line. They're being pretty good at regulating their industry and being fair with everybody. I think as I was updating Carlos the other day, he termed it right. They're seeing the long game here instead of seeing a short game with a short opportunity for significant profits. So we're also seeing a shortage of supply of lumber and plastics because of the cold freeze in Texas in February. There was a significant damage to one of the plastic manufacturing plants that went down. We're hoping that plant gets on the line. But in short, we expect to see shortages and delays to our projects associated with those shortages through the summer. We don't see relief until we get into next year.
Okay. Any other questions from Chris? Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much. Okay, Troy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, commissioners.
Good morning.
Everybody can hear me well today. I want to check my microphone like Chris did there. And I think, Chris, you might still be sharing the screen if awesome. And like Chris, I'm gonna also take a moment here to share my screen and also begin my presentation with the zero fatalities here, starting at our homepage. I'm assuming you can see that now.
Yes.
Just a reminder on how to navigate to the strategic direction. So on our homepage, just scroll down, and under the policy and funding, there's a link to the strategic direction page. And so click that, and then and I'm going to be focusing my time today on our strategic goal of the zero fatalities. And the first thing I wanted to point out today is our fatality rate. You may remember in 2020, we saw a spike at 0.96, and it looks like our fatality rate is coming down, and that's not a result of a reduction in number of fatalities. I think all of us can recognize that if you've been out on the roadways at all lately, to realize that volumes are starting to increase on our roadways, and we're starting to see a lot more traveling, and so that's probably the indication there of showing why that fatality rate is coming down. Let me jump over our traffic fatalities. I wish I had better news to start talking about this one. If you look at this graph, we've got for our actual fatalities through 2021 so far, we're sitting at about 106 right now. If you remember, we have a target to reduce our fatalities by 2.5%, and that's running on a 3-year average. For this time of year, that target would be 79, so you can see that we are well above where we would love. I mean, we don't want to see any number in this column, but obviously it's trending a little higher than we even want to see. And in looking at those numbers, I like to just put a reminder out there for our vulnerable user categories, our bicyclists, pedestrians, and motorcyclists. Currently, of that 106, we've got 8 motorcyclists, 18 pedestrians, and 3 bikelists that help make up that number, which like I mentioned before, that's too many, and we need to be doing our part to help reduce those numbers. Suspected and serious traffic injuries. Scroll down. Our target for that right now, we're right there, very close to a little bit higher on our target than what we'd like. We show 151. Our target is 159. Again, this is a 2.5% reduction we look at over the 3-year average. I'm sorry, I missed that. That was our suspected serious traffic injuries. I misspoke on that one. And in our total crashes for the year, this one we saw last year in 2020 a reduction. We were well under our target, and it looks like that trend is still holding true. That we're seeing less crashes, even with the rising number of traffic volumes over our traffic. And so one of the things I want to do today is maybe just take a moment to talk a little bit about one of the tools that we have in our tool bag that help us, in some of the things to help reduce crashes and whatnot. And one thing I want to focus on today is our wrong way driving. Where do you see that wrong way driving? So one of the things on wrong way driving, just wanted to throw out a little statistic. 38% of our wrong way driving crashes occur between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. And since 2010, about 41% of those wrong way driving crashes involve a DUI driver. And another statistic that was rather interesting is that 19% of our wrong way driving crashes involve an older driver, which is classified as someone 65 or older. And then let's see. And just by way of comparison, one thing for Utah, our wrong way driving crashes are on the magnitude of about 50 crashes per year. And in comparison that to roughly 60,000 that we see, it's a really small number. But I wanted to take a moment here and we'll just talk about a little bit of our tools we have here. And so we have these what we call thermal imaging sensors out there on our roadway that we use to help detect wrong way driving. And we've placed these at roughly 40 locations in our state. And this effort was done in a collaboration effort with our UHP partners as well as our region folks to try and look at locations where we felt like we were seeing wrong way drivers. And what this happens is when these imaging sensors detect a wrong way driving, an alert goes to our traffic operations center, and they're able to investigate that. Let me go to the next slide here. So here's a quick little snapshot of one at Park Lane and US 89 at the Legacy Interchange. Is everybody seeing that? Okay. And so one of the things, the reason I show this is that you'll notice this, as this carries on down, this individual will recognize that they're going the wrong way and make the maneuver to turn around. Fortunately, no incident occurred there. But one of the things I want to point out, let's see, with this is we went to that intersection and we were able to take an opportunity to look at this intersection to figure out why we were seeing some wrong way driving there. And we're actually seeing probably 2 or 3 every day at this location. And so we were able to go back and for those right turners that were coming, we noticed that if you look at the screen here, this green sign was actually blocking the do not enter sign. We made some improvements at this location, added some some more visible signing, put some moved the Trailblazer sign so it wasn't obscured. We've added some do not enter signs on the far side of the ramp. We've also made some improvements to the lights. We put arrows in there, and that's just one of the items we were able to do. And for the other direction, at the same intersection, we added some additional signing there. This was the original sign, and now it's a oversized sign, a little bit bigger to help stand out and provide guidance. And one of the things that since these improvements have been made, we've basically, I won't say we've eliminated wrong way drivings, but now the frequency goes into the 2 or 3 months we may see somebody, but it's now it's definitely not on the frequency we were seeing before. So this tool has definitely helped us out in terms of providing some improvements, lessons learned, and how we do things at those intersections. So real quick, what happens when we get an alert that there's a wrong way driving? Our TOC operators, they'll get an alert. Like I said, they'll go in and they'll validate what is going on. They want to make sure that they validate that there is a wrong way driver, because sometimes we get false calls, or a car may turn around. So instead of putting out an all points bulletin or trying to get out there, we want to verify that it's happening. Once we are able to validate that there is a wrong way driver, we will reach out to law enforcement. We'll even, and then we'll start the process for notification on the roadway, and we'll take that 10 miles in both directions and put those messages on the VMSs to allow people to be aware that there may be a wrong way driver. Moving forward, one of the things what we'll be looking for is looking for installations. We're putting these cameras at locations where we have innovative intersections, and we'll also continue to work with law enforcement in our regions and look for locations that may benefit from installations like that and help us. And with that, that's all I have today on my update. If there's any questions.
This is Commissioner Evans. Could I ask a question, Chair?
Go ahead, please.
What is the process when there's like an accident or congestion, particularly an accident on the freeway, between that and when the signs get updated a while down the road to try to let people know that there's going to be a long delay or something? Is there like a certain amount of time it takes to get that, or the process? I get people asking that, and they know that I'm on UDOT, so they ask me, so I got stuck, that sign wasn't updated, what's going on? I said, I don't know the process. So I'm just curious, how do we update those from update those from when there's an accident to let people know that there's maybe something that's going to be a major issue coming ahead?
Yeah, good question, Commissioner. We our traffic operations center, they will monitor those crashes and they start to update the VMSs when they start to see certain thresholds that are met. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if there's a 5 mile backup or a closure or a structure hit, they will start that process of updating that. But they will not go in and automatically update the VMS if there's an incident that looks like it's going to clear quickly.
Okay.
They want to make sure that this is obviously something that's going to be a sustained time, so that people will make adjustments. We don't want to send people on a detour unnecessarily if this incident's going to clear up. And so there's a lot of coordination going on between our TOC, our IMT groups out there, and law enforcement.
So they'll monitor those, and then they kind of make a determination, is this one that's going to maybe have a greater backup, and we better put something on the sign because people need to see that down the road earlier and that type of thing?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions from Troy? Troy, your presentation about the wrong way remind me of a bumper sticker that's my favorite. It says that when you realize you're going the wrong way, remember God allows U-turns. So there you go.
Does Commissioner Barlow have a question, maybe? I think
Barlow.
I saw a hand go up.
Yes.
Yes. Occasionally, if I'm driving, I'll get an alert on my phone that says something like accident 2 miles ahead. I assume that message is tied in to this whole system in some way that's generated at the TOC.
That is correct. When there's an incident, they'll send out an alert, and that also feeds out to our Twitter account. And if you're signed up through the UDOT app and you've got your preferences set there, it will send out an alert for those as well.
Yeah, I have that. Thank
And
you.
Troy, aren't you also directly, providing a link for like Waze?
There is some coordination with ways that I don't know the exact details on how that system works with them at this point. So, but I can find that out.
Okay.
I know somebody.
Troy, thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're going back to the same place that we started. Item number 5, consent agenda. Thank you, Carlos. And Ivan, thank you for being patient. So you have the con.
Thank you. Good morning. Our first item number 5, is the consent agenda. Shown here, included in the packet for the consent agenda, is the minutes for the April STIP, the programming workshop, the April 23rd commission meeting, the list of projects that were discussed, and a list of projects that also are in that budget recovery that Chris talked about before, so we can continue to put our money to work as soon as possible. I'll come back for the motion in a moment. Again, just scrolling fairly quickly through the minutes of the commission or the workshop on Thursday, followed by our Friday meeting minutes here. And our last page is our list of our projects that we're requesting consent agenda approval to move funding from. We have 2 projects this month that will be moving money back to the Bridge program and the Region 2 Transportation Solutions program. One is an adjust award, the example that Chris talked about earlier, and the second is a project closeout. We're closing out, finalizing that project and ready to put that money back to work as well. So back to the top, our request today is a motion to approve the adjustments to the projects in the included table and approve the April 22nd, 2021 STIP workshop minutes and the April 23rd, 2021 commission meeting minutes as detailed.
I have a question.
Go ahead, please.
When I was reviewing these minutes yesterday and looking through, on the last page of the last commission meeting minutes, under State Infrastructure Bank, it has Lyle McMillan, and then following his name, all capital letters, title. Now, maybe that's an acronym that I'm not familiar with, but I was curious as to what that meant.
Okay.
This is Heather. I just forgot to put his title in. So I had a placeholder for title, and I fixed that on the final minutes here.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move to accept the consent items and give Heather compliments for her excellent meetings, even if she had to come back and replace the title.
Okay.
I'd second that motion. This is Commissioner Evans.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Any other corrections, modifications? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 6, our program development section. We have 10 items today. The first 4 are funding adjustments for approval. Then we'll be presenting a workshop item from last week for approval, or from last month, excuse me. The next 4 actually are reviewing the workshop from the previous month, and the last one is for information only. So 6A1 is the Shepherd Lane interchange. The TIF funding adjustment of $42 million to this project. Prior to the environmental document being completed on this project, the department's estimate was $47 million. The original project scope was defined as a traditional spooey intersection. The project was originally funded in 2017 based on similar freeway interchange types. During the environmental process, the design of the intersection was modified to a tight diamond interchange. It was also determined that a railroad crossing structure was needed to be included in the scope to better facilitate the local road connection to the west of the interchange. These changes, as well as the aspects of the final environmental design, have increased the estimate to the project. This update showed estimates increase. This updated estimate shows increases in almost every area, including the utilities, right-of-way acquisition, engineering, inspection, construction, and structure costs. Because of this, the current scope of the I-15 Shepherd Lane interchange is underfunded, and the region requests additional funding. So located here on the map with marked up as how the project limits. We also included as an exhibit the traditional spooey interchange that the interchange was originally designed or estimated for, and what the difference of the tight diamond interchange will look like. Our request today is a motion to approve adding funds to the I-15 Shepherd Lane interchange project as detailed.
Barlow
I'm
moves
happy to make that
approval.
motion.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Barlow, did you have a second on you?
Second, Commissioner Kramer.
Commissioner Kramer, second. Okay. Any questions from Ivans? Any other questions from, yes, go ahead, Donna, please.
This is almost double the project cost. And I just was looking for maybe a reminder of where we are in the project. Just
I will phone a friend and ask Rob White to step in.
So the project is currently, we're looking to get this under design. The money's a few years out still, but we're currently starting to look at design for this interchange, and that's one of the things that we wanted to come first and get some the additional funding and make sure that we had what was needed to actually construct this project.
Okay. That was a good detailed information about the why the increase is needed for that particular project. Hey, Rob, what about the environmental studies? Going to be more impact changing the interchange?
So the environment, come again with your question.
The environmental impact study is going to be changed differently because of the change in interchange?
The environmental study identified the changes that were needed as part of that environmental study.
Okay. Any other question from Rob or from Ivan? Seeing none, all in favor of this project, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item 6A-1 carries.
Thank you. 6A2 is another funding addition, I-80 structure replacement project. We'll be adding, the request is to add transportation solutions funds, $4.5 million. The I-80 structure replacement project located between milepost 99 and 101 will replace 3 structures. The project is scheduled to be completed in the summer of 2021. Region 2 requests adding $4.5 million of transportation solutions funds to the I-80 structure replacement project near Lake Point to cover unexpected costs. The abutment wall for the westbound bridge experienced unanticipated settlement during additional design and reinforcement. The project also included or incurred delay costs associated with third-party utility providers. The project has been delayed 18 months, which has increased costs for the maintenance, traffic control, or maintaining traffic control, construction engineering, contractor overhead, and resequencing of work activities. Located here on our map, along the Great Salt Lake on I-80, the Lake Point Junction, and here at Lake Point. We included some pictures of what from the project itself. And our request today is a motion of approval to add funds to the I-80 structure replacement milepost 101 and 99 as detailed.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve.
Thank you.
Commissioner Van Tassel will second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions, further clarifications? Any comments? Seeing none, of course, the water looks so beautiful, so blue. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Item 6A-2 is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to item 6A-3. This is a new project, SR 87 in US 40 in Region 3. A new project, $700,000. The US 40 and at milepost 94.1 and 94.4 have developed soft spots and rutting. Our maintenance crew has been monitoring these two areas and the condition is worsening. The recommended fix is a full depth pavement reconstruction for 60 feet centered on each soft spot. Nearby on SR 87 has significant cracking and is recommended to complete a 1.5 inch mill and overlay based on the current condition, and this will extend the life of the pavement. So located here on our map near Duchesne, you see the 87 here going north. Again, zooming in on the map, 87 north, and the soft spots 94.4 and 94.1 and 94.4, which was up here on the map located to the east of Duchesne. This is a picture of the sensor vehicle that's used to measure cracking on the pavement. Our request today is a motion to add the SR 87 and US 40 pavement repair project to the current STIP as detailed.
Mr. Chairman, I would motion to approve.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Kramer approves, seconds that motion. Well needed.
Thank you. I guess because of the Commissioner Barlow's testimonial this morning, we all have a soft spot in our house. Who's going to pay to repair those?
So moved.
Any other questions, comments, corrections? Seeing none, all in favor of this project, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Item 6A-3 is approved.
Thank you. Moving to 6A-4, down in Moab, the US 191 North Moab to Colorado River Bridge project. It's a funding addition of $1.25 million. This request for additional funds cover a variety of issues listed below. The amount of hard rock encountered under the surface has been more than anticipated. The elevation changes created impacts to accesses and adjacent property owners. Some properties have required redesign and additional improvements. Wetland mitigation locations require additional subsurface debris removal and other preparations that were not anticipated. Vibration monitoring costs have exceeded the estimates due to adjacent property owner requests, and construction challenges have added time which require additional observation and inspection, thereby increasing our our CE costs to complete the project. Located here on our map, north of Moab on 191. And several project pictures have also been shown and included.
Wow.
Our request today is a motion to approve to add funds to the US 191 North Moab to Colorado River Bridge project as detailed.
Barlow moves for approval.
Evans, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Go ahead, Donna, please.
Mr. Chair, just a comment. I just so appreciate the pictures that you've that have been added to this, because it really does help us better understand kind of what's happening out there.
It's very impressive, yes. Those pictures are very impressive. Any other questions?
The question I have is, evidently this is not the red sandstone that's above the ground.
No, sir, Commissioner, it wasn't. That was a more of a gypsum-based soil, substantially harder than the red sandstone. As you can see in this image here, actually had to bring in a special wheel, grinding wheel, to actually grind the rock to be able to get the excavation for the storm drain facilities. And not only was it harder than anticipated, but it extended beyond where we thought it would be. And so it created quite a challenge, but we were able to overcome that and get it constructed appropriately.
So does that formation extend across the valley there, or just in that one area, or do you know?
I don't know the full extent of that geologic feature. I just don't know how far it extends.
Well, I bet you can back up traffic all the way through Moab by doing this project.
Yes, sir, we certainly could, and have. Unfortunately, had some serious traffic challenges as well, but we've worked on this.
Monty, would you please explain the extra expenses associated with the vibrations or excessive vibration? How do they calculate that? Who was complaining about that?
There was an adjacent inn owner that had a historic building and also some other structures that were relatively close to the project site that was very concerned about the impacts of vibration. And so as an effort to protect the department and the owner, the landowner, we did additional monitoring just to make certain that our activities were not creating damage to the properties.
So what is the allowable decibel for the neighborhood when you're doing that kind of projects?
The vibration is measured separately. As far as the noise level, I honestly don't know the number on the top of my head what that noise level is.
Okay.
And I can follow up on that and let you know, Commissioner.
Thank you.
I'm sure our construction personnel could rattle that off, but I don't know that off the top of my head.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, it might
Yes,
be
go
great
ahead.
if you would be maybe Monty, share a little bit on the additional traffic, visitors to Moab, during this last year and a half. I think that's kind of interesting.
Yes, what we've observed is increases up to 160% of 2019 traffic numbers. As we planned this project, we anticipated, normal growth of 5 to 10% a year or so. But as we got into the challenges associated with COVID and the reduction in travel throughout many areas, Utah being somewhat open relative to other areas, we really saw a huge increase in recreational traffic to the recreation areas, I believe statewide. And I don't think it's just Utah. I know other mountain states experience that as well. But it created some significant challenges for us. We had traffic backing up well beyond the limits of the project. Our project team did the best they could to try to mitigate those challenges. We did some additional striping to place traffic to be able to allow for traffic to open up to utilize all lanes during the Jeep Safari, which is held each year in the spring. Prior to really our planning of getting it done, we wanted to make sure we did what we could to adjust that, and then that allowed us to have all of those lanes available on each weekend after that point. And so now it's all been paved out. They've got the painting pretty much complete, and we're able to start dealing with traffic much better now, and the backups have been eliminated to a great degree. It's been a very challenging project and a challenging environment, but we are very, very pleased with what we're going to have going forward. I think it'll greatly serve the community and the traveling public both.
Thank you, Monty.
Oh,
Any
you're
other
welcome.
questions? Okay. All in favor of this project, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Item 6A-4 is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. 6A-5. This is from the programming workshop last month in April 2021. Programming workshop part 2, the department presented proposed projects. The projects listed in the Transportation Solutions program will be amended into the current year STIP. As Transportation Solutions is a single year project list, this will allow work to begin on projects when funding is available. The current available balance in the program plus the July 1st for the state transportation funds and October 1st for the federal highway aid funds. Included is the list of the projects that were presented in each region, the primary concept, the description, and the value. And our request for today is a motion of approval for the proposed Transportation Solutions project list to be used to amend the current STIP as detailed.
Can we go back to the approved list for just a second longer? Thank you.
Mr. Chair, as Transportation Solutions is one of my favorite things, I'd like to make the motion to approve this.
Okay. Commissioner Matanzas, did you have a question?
No, I just wanted to remember what we'd done.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I second that. I think Donna, the Commissioner Law, is absolutely right. This has been so helpful to be flexible and on site and local government doing local solutions. So very supportive of this.
So is that the second?
Yes, that was the second.
Okay.
Sorry, long-winded second.
Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Item 6A-5 is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item 6B is the state roads legislative project list that was reviewed in March and April 21 programming workshop. The department presented the list of projects that were directed from the 2021 Utah legislative session. Projects in the associated list are proposed to be approved at the current scope and project values. Shown here is the list of these projects. And before we present the motion, we have Rick Torgerson from Region 4. Our Region 4 director will be presenting or discussing the Tokerville Parkway project that was presented and discussed.
Okay.
Thanks, Ivan. We have an update to what our initial fact sheet was for the Tokerville Parkway. The initial fact sheet talked about a 4-lane corridor parkway type vision being established with this funding. We've since met with a lot of folks, including Tokerville and several of the developers along this route, and even talked several times with Senator Don Ipson about the scope of this project and where it came about. And the commission may remember last March we brought a resolution to the commission relative to this Tokerville Parkway project, which basically required the town of Tokerville to build this roadway in concert with the developers along the section. And once they had it completed if they completed within a 7-year period, that we would swap them, we'd do a jurisdictional transfer and swap them roadways. So they'd take the old SR-17 and we would take the new SR-17. So, at that time, the responsibility to build the road was on Tokerville and the developers to build it. This money that came from the legislature this year and what's presented to us today basically changes that up a little bit to where UDOT will build the first 2 lanes. And then we will swap the roads, so that's still in place. But then we're looking really heavy to have the developers build the other 4 lanes per agreements with Tokerville City into the future. So this one is planned right now to be a 2-lane road, the 16.3 million to build it. And then we're asking for the 18 that was in there to help UDOT manage the project with Tokerville for quality control of the project. And this does not have a bike path in it right now. This would, the roadway itself would have a 4-foot side or shoulder on each side of the road to accommodate active transportation.
Commissioner Van Tassel, question.
The right of way is sufficient to cover the 4 lanes?
Yes, yes, the city, that was part of their partnership. They've worked with 3 major developments along the roadway. They currently have all the right of way deeded to the city for the full 4-lane roadway. So corridor preservation with that. It's very, very good that Tokerville is, they've done that a couple of years ago. So they've already been planning and working towards that full parkway design.
Well, it's a great project, and I appreciate the forward looking and realizing what's coming. This will resolve an issue that we're having in 2 or 3 other areas of the state that they have moved early enough that we'll avoid a bigger problem down the road. So thank you. With that, if you're ready, Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion to approve.
Yes, go ahead.
I would move that we approve the project as outlined.
I'll second.
Okay. So Rick, do we have to redraft the jurisdictional language then? We have to redesign or rewrite?
We will pull that together and see if we need you guys to take action on the jurisdictional thing. Right now, we're thinking no, but we need to go back and review that and see. There may be some adjustments to that jurisdictional agreement that you guys had passed, last March. We do know the agreement that is inside of that between UDOT and Tokerville does need to be adjusted, but I'm not sure if we have to bring the rest of it back to the commission or not. But if we do, we'll bring that at a future meeting.
Okay. And if you do, we need to charge the restocking fee, 15% or so.
Mr. Chairman, before you call a question, the motion by Commissioner Van Tassel sounded to me like a motion for that change in the Tokerville project. The proposed motion in front is a approval of that entire list of projects, legislative projects. So of course the discretion of the commission on how you want to handle this.
Well, Ivan, would you please state the commission one more time specifically?
Yes. Our request today is a motion for approval of the state roads legislated project funding, state roads legislated project funding levels as detailed. So it would be the entirety of this list, which includes that Tokerville exit or the Tokerville Parkway project. We just wanted to highlight the change from the scope of the Tokerville Parkway that had been presented in March and April. But a request for today is a motion for the entire list.
I'll withdraw my motion pending the final presentation.
Okay. Or you can revise it and make it a whole list.
Are there others that we want to highlight?
No, that was just it. They just wanted to make sure that there was a little bit of a change in the Tokerville Parkway. That was all Rick wanted to make sure that we understand. The rest of the list is the same.
I would make a motion to approve the list as presented.
Thank you. And
I would still second.
Thank you. Any other clarification? Any other questions? Thank you for that. All in favor of this particular list, would you please say aye?
Aye.
Any opposition to this list? Stay the same. Item 6B is approved.
Thank you. Our next item is 6C. Similarly, this is the State Road Transportation Investment Fund project list. In the March and April 2021 programming workshop, the department presented a list of the State Roads Transportation Investment Fund projects that, utilizing the established prioritization process described in Administrative Rule R940-6, are recommended for programming. Projects in the associated list are proposed to be approved at the current scope and project values. Included in the exhibit is the State Road Transportation Investment Fund prioritized project list, shown here, with no changes from the previous commission meeting. Our request today is a motion of approval of the State Roads Transportation Investment Fund project funding levels as detailed.
Barlow will move for approval.
I'd second. This is Evans.
Thank you. Any other questions, clarifications, modifications, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Item 6C is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. 6D, in the April 21 STIP Workshop Part 2, the department presented proposed projects from programs that require project level approvals. The projects listed in the 2021 programming workshop will be added to the 2022-2026 draft STIP. The Utah 2022 to 2026 draft STIP will be presented in the June 25th, 2021 Transportation Commission meeting for approval to post for public comment. So included in the packet is the exhibit that goes through the 3 programs that require project level approvals that had projects presented to the commission. The first is the high volume pavement projects. So just as a review, last month we reviewed it through the projects app, which is still available on the Transportation Commission webpage. This is just a quick list that shows region, the project, the PIN and description. The program for this page is the high volume pavement, the concept, and when money would be programmed on these projects. So this is the high volume pavement list included into page 3. It being page 2, finishing high volume on page 3. Page 4 are the low volume pavement. Similar format, region, project PIN, or the project number and description, concept, and the funding, when the funding would be programmed for those years. And the last page, page 5, is the bridge program. These are new bridge or bridge replacements with the funding approved, or the funding planned to be programmed in those years. So back to our fact sheet. Our request today is approval of the proposed project list to be used to amend the 2022-2026 draft STIP as detailed.
Barlow moves for approval.
I'm happy to second. This is Commissioner Gochner.
Thank you both. Any other questions?
Just a comment, Mr. Chair. The fact that so much preparation goes into this, we're planning this for multiple years. And then what we're doing is making sure that the public has time to comment even after this gets, even after this approval. So I just want to, again, compliment the department on our process.
Thank you. All in favor of this project and this list, please say yes.
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 Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Pretty tricky, Mr. Chairman.
I know. I'm just trying to see everybody's awake. I don't want to
Awake, alert, and delighted.
I don't want to be routine of the just raise your hand or aye. Any opposed? Item 6D is approved.
Thank you. Our next item is item 6E, and I get to release the microphone over to Ben Hewitt, Andrew Olson, and Stephanie Tomlin.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Ben Hewitt, Program Development Director with UDOT, and I do have Andrea Olson, our UDOT Planning Director, and Stephanie Tomlin, our Planning Lead for Project Prioritization, as backup today. So for this item is related to active transportation projects funded by Senate Bill 2. So for some background, Senate Bill 2 from the 2021 general session appropriated $35 million of one-time funding with some intent language that it was for paved pedestrian and non-motorized projects. And there is a 20% match requirement on this funding. So in the March 2021 staff update and commission meetings, UDOT proposed to choose projects that are identified as regionally important active transportation projects in the UDOT department approved active transportation plan for that SB2 funding. So a note on that is that list of regionally important active transportation projects have a total estimated cost of just under $110 million. So that being said, the process or our plan to make recommendations for active transportation projects was to use the TIF active prioritization model and rank those regionally important transportation projects and use that to make recommendations for funding for the $35 million. So this item is a for information only item this month to just present the ranked list. So over the past few months, Stephanie, with help from the region planners and many others, have been gathering the data needed to run that prioritization model. And they have now completed that. So I would ask Ivan if you could jump over to the UDOT website. And on the Transportation Commission page, we have posted the active transportation, the ranked list of those regionally important projects under that link that we had for the initial list. So this is the ranked list that represents running those regionally important active transportation projects through the TIF active prioritization model. So our plan moving forward from this is our current plan is to provide funding recommendations next month and then request approval of those funding recommendations in the following month. So in between that time, there's needed some coordination with the local entities regarding the match and to work down the list in that regard. So that is the for information only item for this month. Are there any questions that myself or Andrea or Stephanie could answer at this time?
Don't be shy. There's no charge for the questions.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, go ahead, please, Carlos.
I have more questions than answers, it seems like, in my world anymore.
That is wonderful.
Just to help maybe the commissioners put this list in context. You know, recall how Ben started. There's a 20% local match. And so it was important to get this project list out so that local governments can start working with their legislative bodies, their councils, whatever, to see if there's interest in this. So I think the rank list can help inform the commission, but there could be various dynamics in play in terms of what actually final decisions that the commission makes. But a large part of this will be driven by, you know, really the local government's ability to, you know, say, I'm really interested in that project and I've found the match. So you could almost imagine a scenario where maybe a lower ranked project might be selected by the commission ultimately just based on those dynamics. So I just wanted to help the commissioners appreciate that this is not just a 1, 2, 3 down the list problem.
Right. Thank you for that explanation, Carlos. Any other questions? Well, thank you. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Andrea and Stephanie. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was item 6E.
Thank you. Our next item is 6F, and another tag team. I'm going to be presenting the fact sheet for consideration first, and then we'll release my screen over to Jared Esselman. So 6F is the draft 2022-2026 ASIP, which is the statewide airport capital improvement program. And this will be presented by Jared, and I'll release the mic to him.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Ivan. Everybody can hear me?
Yes. Welcome back, Jared.
Okay, I'm signed in twice here, so I can, my video is up on one, but I'm presenting on the other. I don't know if y'all can see me on both. But if that's okay, I'll go ahead, if everybody's good.
Please, yes.
So this is the 5-year airport capital improvement program, and I will present my one slide for this.
And Carlos, that is not picture of Jared. That is picture of his son Israel in the Top Gun formation.
I think Jared has that in his heart.
I
would Yes, sir, in my heart. That's exactly right. Okay, and can you see?
Yes.
This one slide. Okay. I'm not seeing it, so I hope y'all are seeing it.
Yes, we are.
Okay, good. So this is the 2022 through 2026 capital improvement program. The funding here is a total of about $249 million over the next 5 years. That represents 188 projects and programs over our 46 public use airports and about 20 of our 90 backcountry airstrips. Now, because Commissioner Law made a specific comment on how I broke the funding down about 2 years ago, I have continued to do that. This funding represents $201 million in federal funding, 15.4 million in state funding, and 11.4 million in local funding. Now, I remember your comment from a couple years ago, Commissioner Law, on how you like to see the local funding higher than state funding. It is reversed this year because we have a good problem. The CARES Act, which I'll call CARES Act 1 and CARES Act 2, brought all of our AIP, Federal Airport Improvement Program funding, to 100% federally funded, which meant that our local match, which we usually share with the local airports, was zeroed out. So for the big commercial airports that we don't participate in, that eliminated their local funding. But for the state-only grants, we still are spending that money on the airports that are only eligible for state money. So there's a bit of reverse there, but it's a good problem to have because of the CARES Act funding, which took our local match to zero on a lot of our AIP, on all of our AIP projects. So again, 188 projects and programs over the next 5 years for a total of about $250 million. And I'll answer any questions that anyone has.
Jared, it's Donna. I just love looking at this pie chart and seeing the way that the funds are all partnered and leveraged. That's one of the really wonderful things about how this all works together.
Well, thank you.
I just want to add that Jared's here doing a great job. And when we got the big monster Salt Lake Airport out there with some of its issues, it's great to have some of these other projects doing well. So keep it up, Jared.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Kramer.
Well, and more to come. We're just so proud of you. And it helps speaking for Governor Cox's programs, it helps on our rural expansion in a dramatic way. So again, double thanks for Jared.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, if nothing else, I will close with one announcement that you may have seen, but you will definitely hear tomorrow. we are adding a new nonstop route at Salt Lake City International. And I serve on the Air Service Development Board at Salt Lake International. And I'm happy and pleased to announce that that route is nonstop from Salt Lake to Frankfurt, Germany on Lufthansa subsidiary. That is a new route for us.
Wonderful.
Well, being a Germanophile and spending 2 years of my teenage years there, I'm delighted that Frankfurt is on the list. And I know Commissioner Gochner's, with her Salt Lake Airport experience over the years too, I hope is smiling as well.
It's a great experience for all of us. Yes.
Lou, I wish I spoke German, but I'll just say, yeah, yeah.
Those are the words we need to hear. Wunderschön getan, muss ich sagen. Yeah.
Yes. Any other question from Jared?
I did have one, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, please.
As I reviewed the list, I was, first of all, I love the fact that there's so much forethought going into what happens each year. Do we have some flexibility in that from year to year if the communities need it?
We do. We do have some flexibility in that, especially on state-only grants. Our FAA grants are tied to the AIP program, and the current year, and I'll say 1 year out, is pretty set in stone. But our non-NIPIAS airports, or our airports that are only eligible for state grants, we're very flexible on those.
That's helpful to understand. Thanks so much.
Yes, ma'am.
And Jared, was impressive to remember comments from 2 years ago from Donna. That is very impressive.
Means I should be careful what I say.
All of us. Thank you. Thank you, Jared. You can take off now, Jared.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
We'll see you in Frankfurt.
Yes, we will be there. Okay. Ivan, any other comments you have? That's the last of the presentation for you, right?
That's the last for me. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too.
Item number 7 is a corridor preservation. Charles Stormont will present that item ABC. Charles?
Yeah, sure thing. Give me one moment to get my screen shared with you. Are you able to see the fund balance?
Yes. Can you make it a little bit larger, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Too far.
So we will begin with a review of the fund balance, and let me unzoom one. There we go. Is that easier to read?
Much better. Thank you.
I've been struggling. My arms seem not to be long enough to read small text anymore. I keep having to put on the second pair of glasses. So I appreciate the need to zoom in. Our balance forward is just over $14.5 million. It is exciting to see that our motor vehicle revenue is not only back, but it seems to be exceeding what we were seeing before the pandemic began. The net revenue through the end of the month of April was $781,000 and change, with expenses of just under $70,000. The net effect of all of those numbers is a fund balance of $15.2 million, just over that. We have obligations of just over $9 million, leaving an available fund balance of just over 6.1. We have, $6.1 million. We have 3 items today that, if approved, would obligate almost another $1 million of the fund. So if those items are approved today, the net balance in the fund would be just under $5.2 million. Are there any questions on the fund or the status of the fund?
I guess not.
Okay. Well, given that, we will move into the items. Item number 1 involves a home along 56th South in Roy, owned by a gentleman named Richard Lee. This is a high-level map of the planned project. You can see that Mr. Lee's home is here off on the western end. You can identify the impacted parcels along here. You'll recall a couple months ago we approved and were able to close on the Royal Jade restaurant in this area under the 5650. So this is an area where there is increasing interest in corridor preservation. Mr. Lee is an elderly gentleman, is preparing to move into an assisted living facility. Diane has been working with his son on this transaction. So the need to move out of the home and have it sold is important and an obvious hardship. The home sits on about 0.32 acres. It is 1,808 square feet with 4 bedrooms and 1 bath. It has appraised for $290,000. I will zoom in. You can see that the planned project, this blue line here, is expected to go right through the middle of the front of the home. So there is an obvious need to acquire the entire parcel. It will be used for the 5600 South project in Roy, and the advisory council has given a favorable recommendation. Again, the appraised value is $290,000, and it would be our request to proceed to obligate those funds to acquire this parcel from Mr. Lee.
Barlow will move for approval.
Kramer seconds it, which I've been doing with Wayne for many years on this advisory council. We had discussed this and certainly recommended for approval.
So we have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Item 7A is approved. Thank you.
Great. And we're going to move from north to south with our items. So we're moving just a little bit further south now with item 7B to 1800 North in Sunset, a home owned by the Braithwaite family. Here is a project map, and you can zero in on the Braithwaite family parcel in this area. The home, it is a home, but it is being used as a business, as an art studio, and that is consistent with its zoning. The building is approximately 1,100 square feet. The family lives next door, and they, knowing the project is coming, they are anxious to find another location to operate their business, but they cannot do that until we first purchase this property. The land that it sits on is approximately 0.22 acres, obviously needed for the future widening of 1800 North and the I-15 interchange that will be constructed in Sunset. The property has appraised for $281,100, and the advisory council has given a favorable recommendation to approve this request. Just to zoom in and zero in on the expected boundaries of the project, it goes through again, just like the one we just reviewed, through the middle of the home. And so again, there's obvious need. You can see in this area, we've already purchased a handful of parcels in this kind of turquoise color. There's another over here. And we have several requests processed from nearby homeowners. Our request today would be to obligate the $281,100 to proceed with the acquisition of the Braithwaite parcel and building.
Commissioner Van Tassel, do you have a question?
No, I don't.
Okay. Your hands are still up. Okay.
So moved. Commissioner Kramer.
Law second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any other questions, comments, concerns? All in favor, go ahead.
Commissioner, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to say again, this is such an excellent program we have to plan in advance. It leads the way in the country for this kind of approach, and we're using our money for the right things. And again, grateful to Charles and Diane and his team to make it happen. It's exciting. Yet another example how UDOT leads the nation.
Yes, indeed. All in favor of this project, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Item 7B is approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And finally, item 7C, this is a project that I know you have spoken about in a different setting, but this is our first corridor preservation item along 1600 North in Orem. This is a home owned by the Parker family, and this is just a high-level overview map. You can see I-15, 1600 North. Their home sits just off to the east of I-15. The project is in a planning phase, but we have some estimates of what the road might look like. The Parker's home sits in this area along this. You can see this is I-15 is off to the left. Out here, you can see the corridor coming through, bending down. That then continues along this path. And so again, you can see, we'll zoom in, the project coming through the front of the home. Their property is approximately 0.2 acres, 2 bath, 2,400 square feet. The Parkers have an adult daughter with Down syndrome and related medical needs, and they need a little more space to be able to accommodate those. They are aware that they would be giving up significant relocation benefits, but they have an opportunity to stay in their neighborhood, which is very important to them, which creates the obvious hardship here that we would like to try and address. The property has appraised for $375,000, and again for the 1600 North project in Orem. The advisory council has given a favorable recommendation to approve this request, and therefore we would ask for your permission to obligate the $375,000 to move forward with this acquisition.
I've moved for approval, Commissioner Evans.
Gochner will second.
Thank you both. Any other questions, concerns? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Item 7C is approved. Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners, and Commissioner Barlow. I don't have the words to tell you how much we're going to miss working with you, but it has been a real pleasure to have had that opportunity to be a part of the team with you. So thank you.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you, Charles. Have a wonderful weekend, Charles.
Thank you.
Item number 8 on your agenda is the State Infrastructure Bank, and Lyle McMullen will present that item.
Hello, commissioners. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Excellent. Good morning. All right, so today I have just a follow-up from last month. Last month we reviewed what I believe to be a very simple update to the State Infrastructure Bank rule. This year the legislature passed House Bill 151, which basically did one single thing. It added another type of transportation project to the projects that are eligible to receive a SIB loan. And that loan, or that project, is a transportation project that is publicly owned. And let's see. So the language in the rule that we're hoping for your approval today to file an update will basically make it future-proof. We had identified a specific section in the rule that is in the statute, and now we're going to reference the entire section. So if in the future the legislature decides that they want to add another type of project to those that are eligible, it will be in that section and the rule will automatically accommodate that. And so here is the language that is, the strikeout language is a transportation project. And then the new one will be project means a project as defined by that section. And so that's as simple as it gets. We would hope for a motion to approve us moving forward. This is, by the way, this is not a rule for your review. It is your rule. And so we are hoping to get a motion to move forward on this so that we can make sure that we're ready for these new types of projects if anybody applies.
Barlow so moves.
Law second, because I love the idea that Lyle can future-proof things.
So Lyle, did we have any request project in the sewer water project before? How did it come about?
We have one interested party. I've spent some time working with the municipality that is interested in this. I was expecting an application once the law went into effect in the first week of May. However, we have not received an application yet.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from Lyle? Seeing none, all in favor of this particular item, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Item number 8 is approved. Thank you, Lyle.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and make the filing. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So that is the end of all the agenda items that we have had. At this time, Carlos would like to have opportunity to talk to us about a few items. Go ahead, Carlos, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. The chairman mentioned that June we're going to try to do in-person meeting, and I recognize that everyone's in a different place and everyone has different situations. So we want to do it at the complex where we have, I'll say, more control over the technology and over the physical space. We will create an environment where we have more spacing between people. We're also working on technology that will allow, if a commissioner chooses to participate virtually, you still can, and to make you, feel at an equal place with others that might be there physically. And so this is the new hybrid meeting. It's going to be part of, I guess, everyone's future. So we're working on setting that up. And my message to you is we're working towards doing an in-person meeting, but if you feel more comfortable doing it virtually, we will still have the ability to do that. And my commitment to you is that our goal is to make everyone feel, all commissioners feel like you're on an equal footing, whether you're there in person or not. And, we could try it in June. And if it doesn't feel that we were able to accomplish that, then I'd really like to have that conversation. So that was the one item I wanted to talk about. And Mr. Chairman, if the commissioners have any comments or questions or concerns on that, I'd like to hear it now, or you can give me a call at any time.
Carlos, I appreciate the intent to accommodate, and I personally very much look forward to being there in person next month.
Great.
Here, the same here.
Hey, Carlos, do we think that we would have a need for an in-person work session on Thursday, or will it just be the in-person on Friday?
I'm guessing it's just the in-person on Friday right now, Commissioner. I just, it's if something hot comes up that we need to spend more time on, where a more casual setting helps us facilitate the conversation, then we'll do that. And we will do the same, if we were to have that, we would try to accommodate it in the same way.
Okay, thank you.
Everyone's at an equal footing. That's our goal on this. Okay.
Any other question from Carlos? Oh,
I have
okay.
two other items, Mr. Chairman. I'll start with the good news, and then we'll, maybe I shouldn't end with that, but then some bad news.
Oh, no.
But let's start with the good news. Elizabeth, we have an event coming up next week that all commissioners should have received a little notice on. What's happening next week?
Yes, I hope that you saw that. If not, check your invoices. There's an invitation to.
We're not going to invoice you.
Oh, did I say? Well, I don't know. I don't want Carlos making any commitments. We've got a party to pay for here. So we're going to have an event next week. It's on the 25th, and it's for the opening of construction for the West Davis Highway. So it is the unofficial start of that. We'll have an event with Speaker Wilson, President Adams, of course, our own Carlos Braceras, and there will just be some remarks to start. It will be on site, and there will be an excavator there. So If you want to bring your PPE or if you want to ask us to bring some for you, all I'm saying is there will be heavy equipment to play with. There will also be cookies. So, I mean, if the heavy equipment doesn't entice you, sweets may. So that will be a really exciting event. This has been a long time in development. So if you would like to join us, we would love to have you.
What time is that, Elizabeth? I don't think I've seen the announcement.
That is at 10 a.m.
Great.
Official start is 10:15, but if you come at 10 a.m., then we get to chat with you.
So what kind of cookies, Elizabeth?
They are the local favorite from Old Grist Mill is, I believe, the name of the location. I know this because cookies are a high priority to Zach Whitney, the communications manager in Region 1. I'm seeing nods from Chris and Rob, so I think I'm giving good information. Priorities.
Okay. These other guys.
Big cookies.
Big cookies.
That.
Thank you. They just married each other.
Yeah, I did not realize the importance of the cookie, but I mean, this was actually the highlight of the conversation we had before about this event. So,
yep.
Coming back to the cookie.
Critical details.
Yeah.
I think we should go up there.
In Utah, Carlos, we said that you feed them, they'll come.
So please do.
This is there's not a lot of new roads being built in this country. And this is a project that the community has had on their books since the 60s. And the department has been working on for, I'm going to say, decades. And so this is a major milestone to get to this point. We're quite excited about it, but we're construction geeks. So many others may not share that same excitement. So don't feel obligated, but of course, we'd love to have you if it fits into your schedule.
Okay.
Any other questions on that one? And now a perfect segue to Rob, because we talked about excavators. And excavators can be good and they can be bad. Rob, what's our bad news?
So unfortunately, this morning we had a contractor hit our brand new bridge at Gordon Avenue on the US 89 project. We had the lanes closed for, I don't know, about 25, 30 minutes while that was getting cleaned up and moved out of the way. So the bad news is we have a brand new structure that has damage to it, and you hate to see that. And as an engineer, it just makes my it makes my stomach turn a little bit, to be quite honest, to see a brand new bridge with damage. It appears that the damage isn't severe enough to warrant having to close the road long term, but we do have the designer up there assessing the damage and seeing what repairs need to be made. You know, when you put things in perspective, though, nobody was hurt, which is obviously our first priority, is make sure everybody was safe, and no one was hurt, but it looks like a fair amount of damage to one of the girders on that bridge. So hate to end the commission with that kind of news, but on the positive side, no injuries. So.
Well, that's the blessing. Nobody injured.
So I'm assuming he didn't know how tall he was.
You know, the excavators, this happens fairly regularly on our bridge hits. Those excavators, if you don't retract the arm all the way down before you transport it, they are over the what our standard 16.5 foot clearance is. This bridge actually had more than that, but the excavator arm was not retracted completely, so it hit the bridge and damaged it.
Thank you, Rob. Mr. Chairman, that would conclude my remarks, but I would be always open to any questions commissioners might have, transportation related, of course.
Thank you, Carlos. The almost last item of the agenda is the commission committee reports. If any of you have attended your meetings, committees, just go ahead and raise your hand. I recognize you and report it. Go ahead, Commissioner Gardner.
I'll just mention that the Regional Growth Committee met yesterday. They approved the amendment to the Regional Transportation Plan. It's my understanding it was the largest amendment in our history because of legislative actions last session. It was also a very balanced amendment between roads, transit, active transportation, land use, and just really incredible collaboration between UDOT and the Wasatch Front Regional Council, local governments. So that's good news, Carlos, to end on.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Commissioner Evans. Rob and I participated in a Mountain Land Regional Planning meeting last week, and both of us presented on kind of the projects coming and the timing and things. And they were just, Rob, I guess you could say they were very appreciative for all the UDOT's doing to help them down in the Mountain Land region. So I think we got to pass that on. We hear complaints sometimes, but they passed on a lot of gratitude and praise last week for the things that the Commission UDOT is doing in the Mountain Land region. I wanted to pass that on.
Thank you. Okay. Then I would like to report. First of all, I would like to read the text that I just received from Dave Demas from the Dixie MPO and Iron County RPO. On behalf of the Dixie MPO and the Iron County RPO, we would like to thank the Commission for the attention given to transportation needs in beautiful southern Utah. Our growth is crazy down here, and we couldn't meet these needs without UDOT. We are all very blessed. Thanks again, Dave Demas. Thank you, Dave. And for those of you that you were not lucky enough to come down south on Wednesday, we had the grand opening ribbon cutting of the state route, I guess it was 7. That was the magnificent location, the background, the Commissioner Law, I'm pretty sure she will testify to that one side was the red sand dunes, the other side was the lake, kind of like San Hollow Reservoir of the blue water. You don't have to go to Lake Powell. It was right there with all the majesty. On the east side was the peaks of the Zion National Park. On the north side, majestic Pine Valley Mountain. We had more than, I believe, 120 bikers and plenty residents and dignitaries. It was just a beautiful setting, and just a little bit of light breeze, not the wind, just a light breeze to give us the opportunity. Oh, what a beautiful location to have that highway. Everybody was so happy, excited, and everybody was really thankful. I talked to the engineers, the contractors, subcontractors, the mayors, citizens, police department, sheriffs, everyone, and especially more than 112 bikers, young and old. They were there to enjoy that piece of highway. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, UDOT. Thank you, commissioners, for giving us that opportunity. It was just beautiful setting. Commissioner Law spoke a few minutes. I did a few speaking at the end, and of course, Mayor John Bramall from Hurricane cut the ribbon. Thank you, folks. You give us always the best of the best. Thank you. I attended my also transportation assignment, which is a Dixie Transportation Executive Council, DTEC. With that, also they highlighted Southern Utah, Southern Parkway. They also highlighted the Springdale to St. George Transit implementation. According to report, Carlos, they're just 1 year away from the final decision and get in. I guess they're talking about the buses, which one to choose. They have a little bit of concern about batteries, which one is going to be the long lasting, easy to charge, charging stations. And of course, the Ironman event transportation report was given. Wow, 26 million came to the businesses in Southern Utah because of that event that we had. Some of you, I'm sure, that participated, but it was an amazing thing to see. And then, of course, futuristically, they talk about how this Southern Parkway will be added another event, another opportunity for those people that have not been on it to use. So thank you again for all you do. Thank you for helping us throughout the state. For the citizens and the people that are watching us, thank you for your participation. Thank you for being kind to us and being patient. This is your state. We're all in together. So help us to help you and give us your ideas. And we also would like to hear your concerns and complaints. We love to hear that. Without that, we will not be able to improve ourselves. Please help us to help you. Any other comments from anyone? If not, we shall see you hopefully all in person on June 25th in the complex, at the complex. With that, I would like to have the last item of the agenda, which is motion to adjourn.
Wayne?
Motion to adjourn.
Wayne, do you agree with that motion?
Give it to Wayne.
It's not debatable. Thank you. See you next time. Have a wonderful
everyone.
Thank you. Enjoy the weekend.
Thank you, particularly
Bye-bye.
Wayne.
Bye-bye.